Hey everybody, I think I am live. Technical difficulties. Okay, I am live. Hi everybody, welcome to another Make It Monday. This is Julie Maxon, the main stamper, and it's just a couple minutes after 8. I really thought I was going to be early tonight, and I must have done something with my computer, and all of a sudden all of the information I saved for my video went away. It disappeared and I had to start over. So a little bit of panicking going on at the last second here, but here we are together on a Monday, and tonight we are going to be creating a really pretty purpley card, and this is with the stamp set, the very popular stamp set right now, Calming Camellia, and this is a special stamp set during celebration for hosts only, but it is gorgeous. There's a lot of samples going around with this beautiful stamp set, and if you're interested in learning how to earn yours for free, you can let me know and I will help you out with that. But we are going to get right to this project tonight because I have to re-ink my ink pads as well, and I plan to try to get that done ahead, and it just nothing's quite going right. It's Monday, right? It's Monday. So let's hop over to my workspace and we're going to talk a little bit about our products. I'm going to do a little re-inking. So this card that I am copying tonight is in the Celebration brochure. Celebration will end on February 28th. I just put a blog post up on that on the mainstamper.com if you're interested in checking out some of the information. But this is the card that I copied tonight. And I didn't have everything for it. Like, I'm always surprised when I don't have everything for it. But I saw this. There's some really beautiful samples with this Calming Camellia stamp set. It is free with a $300 party. And of course, this flower right here is super popular. You're seeing this a lot. I used this on Mother of Pearl paper during the January boot camp. Have not completed my card yet, but our card tonight doesn't feature the beautiful flower. It actually features this leafy stamp right here. So it's nice to know that you can use more than just this gorgeous flower in different projects. So we'll be using this stamp set, and we are not using the ranunculus dies. So the dies that go with the ranunculus romance bundle is something that is not in my craft room yet. So I did some searching through similar dies that I have on hand, and I came up close enough to the meadow dies. These are the meadow dies. So I'm sure that, you know, if you're at home doing something similar and you're trying to recreate a project that you see, whether it's on Pinterest or the catalog, you're going through your supplies too and seeing what you have that's close enough. So these are the dies that I'm using from the meadow dies. The catalog sample showed the ranunculus dies, but I thought, you know, that is pretty good. We are definitely using the Hive 3D embossing folder, and this is a thick 3D folder. It's the 3D, so it's the thick ones. We'll need our specialty plate when we put this through our die cutting machine. And I had created a really cute, obviously Hive, right? We think of the little bumblebees. So this is one that we've used. If you came to my January class, you got to play with the Hive embossing folder and make this little bumblebee card. But I'm showing you that the Hive doesn't have to just be for bumblebees. Until I pointed out that it was a Hive embossing folder, you probably just thought it was little bubbles or circles. So it's really versatile that way. And we're also using a Tasteful Labels dies. We've got the larger circle here that's got some nice stitching and scallops on it. So those are the supplies that are going into our card. And I have Rich Razzleberry ink and Fresh Freesia ink right here, and both of them need a little bit of re-inking. So I felt that my stamping here was really light on both of these images, so I really wanted to just do this real quick before I get going. So I'm just grabbing my re-inker. I'm opening up my stamp pad here, my ink pad, and I'm just going to go ahead and dot on a whole bunch of dots here. And you're going to see them kind of, they'll disappear into the foam a little bit. But as they disappear into the foam, they're also very spotty. They're leaving spots. So I like to take the back of a spoon, and I just like to push this ink refill right into the pad and kind of frost it around a little bit. It helps it to spread out so that it's not just concentrated in the dots. And once you do that, you can see that it's really nice and smooth in there again. Now where I've pushed it down pretty deep into the ink pad, right here in the middle, it looks lighter and it'll look darker on the outside. I try not to squish the outsides too much because I don't want to dig my spoon into the foam pad and ruin it. And I think that should be enough right there. So we're going to put this one away. And I'm just going to bring in a baby wipe here. And these inks are water ink, water-based ink, so they wipe up really nicely. I'm going to close this until we need it, and we're going to open up Rich Razzleberry. And I'm going to do the same. So you can see my Rich Razzleberry ink refill is really old. The newer versions of the ink refills look a little different, right? That's okay, they're still good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put some rich raspberry ink in here real quick. And we're gonna get some nice dark images now. Get the ends off of that. All right, same thing, I'm gonna take my spoon. You can also use your bone folder for this, but I feel like the bone folder has more of an edge to it, and I definitely wanna be really careful that I don't tear into this foam pad. It is kind of delicate. And if you were to tear it, it's going to affect your stamping, and we don't want to do that. So this is the ink that's left over. Again, it's not a lot of ink. I'm just going to wipe this off. And my spoon is ready for more re-inking as needed. So that's how I re-ink my, my ink pads every time. And we're going to go ahead and close this one too, so we don't want that out right yet. Okay, now we can get down to business. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Hive embossing folder, and we're going to emboss our rich raspberry. So this is rich raspberry card stock, and I've got a rich raspberry base. I have a piece for my die cuts, and I have a piece for the embossing folder. So I want to measure up and see which ones I've got here. So the piece that I'm embossing is 3.5 by 5. The Hive folder has a very nice little straight line here on the bottom. So if this was something that you had to like line up properly and didn't want it to be crooked, you can line up your paper at the bottom here with this line before you put it through your embossing folder. I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine and my 3D plate, and we're going to do this part first. All right. So for this, we're going to need the base plate 1. And we're going to need our embossing folder. Now this is the hinge edge, and it's going to go through the machine first. And I'm using the plate number 4. This is a specialty plate for our embossing folders. That's all we need for this sandwich setup. Crank this through. And take a look at our Hive paper. Set some things aside. So you can see right away that this side has bubbles facing up and this side has bubbles facing down. So there's 2 ways that you can use this. And if you're using it on your card and you want the bubbles facing up like our sample did, you do not want to start ripping it in this direction. So here you can see bubbles facing up. This is down, right? And this is down. I'm sorry if I said up. This is actually bubbles facing down. And the sample has a little corner chunked out of here, and it's got cut on the bottom. Now the bottom doesn't matter if it's up or down, but this little corner chunk does matter because we wanted the corner chunk out of here. So when I did this the first time through, I just, grabbed my embossed piece and started, tearing it up, and then realized if I wanted to put it this way, it's going to be the opposite, which really wouldn't be terrible, but when you're trying to follow something and make it look similar, we want to pay attention to which way this is going. So this is with the bubbles facing down, and I'm going to just chunk out a small little piece along the top, and then I'm going to do this here on the bottom. And it can be the most random pattern. This one is quite even. This one I definitely, some of this gets hidden, but it definitely had some different highs and lows. And this is going to go on our card front at a slight angle like this, so that's kind of nice. So I'm going to throw away those scraps. We don't need this red piece anymore. And we are going to go ahead and put this on our card base with some dimensionals. And I have a whole bunch of edges left over. So when I did this earlier, I was just playing with my edges here, and I found that this worked out pretty good because we need quite a bit here. This is this embossed piece has the tendency to kind of curl and buckle. So the see what I got. What else do I have in here? Here's some more edges. Here's some more edges. I'm going to just use up some edges tonight. This is a great way to use up every little bit and piece of your dimensionals here. There's another one I got rid of. That's so awesome. So I'm just going to kind of fill in around here. And then I'm going to snip a little bit here and there, see what fits where. It's kind of like puzzle pieces. Now I'm going to cut the corner off of this here. He went flying. Okay. You can kind of see I'm just filling in along here with my little pieces. I'm going to put some in the middle here. Maybe I want another little edge here on here. And maybe one more. I never feel guilty about using the edges up. I always feel guilty about using up the little hexagon shaped dimensionals, because once this starts getting all used up, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna need more. But when I'm using the edges, I'm just like, well, those are just spares. I'm good with that. I can use those up like they're candy here. Now, of course, it's just going to be a matter of grabbing off all of the backings here and remembering which ones were done and which ones weren't done, because there's quite a few. This would be a little bit more tricky to glue or tape down flat on your card base, just because there is so much texture to this embossed piece. These are the 3D emboss folders, so they do give a lot more texture, and still it's a little wiggly wobbly here. But we're going to put this on here at just a slight angle, and you can see, I mean, it's definitely, it does give it a nice little edge here, which is awesome. And that is all done, so we're good with that part. Let me clean up my mess here real quick, and we're going to get on to some stamping. All right, so here I have a piece of white cardstock, and we are going to bring in the fresh freesia. And earlier I mentioned we weren't going to use that beautiful flower. We're actually using the leaf, which has very similar shading around it. So you can kind of see the shading that goes around the outside of it, and it's definitely going to be one that you're not going to get a super solid image, and that is on purpose. So actually, before I start, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rip the paper here. I'm going to do this before I stamp. So I'm just ripping my paper, and I've got something very similar to that one, which is great. All right, now I did refill these ink pads, so I'm expecting them to be quite a bit darker. Oh, they are. This is good. Much better. I always encourage anyone, if you're buying an ink pad, to buy your refill at the same time, because you never know when you're going to need to refill. I mean, this is a new ink color. I just got this not even a year ago, and I'm not sure if this is the first time that I had to refill it or not, but I think you can see how much darker and more detailed this one is. Now, I did go through and I did do a little shading, so I'm going to show you that here in a second too, but that is much nicer with that, much happier with that this time around. It's going to be so much brighter on there. Look at the difference. Love it. All right, we are going to bring in our sentiment piece. Now, I feel like this sentiments on here, we probably could have used, so we're using You're in My Thoughts. Oh, maybe that one doesn't quite fit. I didn't play with these earlier, but I Love Being Your Friend would definitely fit in here. Lovely You would fit in here too. You could probably put this little swirly in there. That would look really nice. I love when you can play with the different sentiments and try to come up with different things for your cards. But this one is You're in My Thoughts. I'm just going to ink this up, and definitely got a much darker image there this time around. So I don't know if you can see or not. Definitely darker here. This was before I inked it, refilled it with ink, and this is the after. So that worked out really nice too. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring back in my die cutting machine, because we're going to die cut this, and we're also going to die cut our flowers. Our fake flowers, because they're not the real flowers, right? They're not the flowers that the card was meant to have on it. So we're bringing in the base plate 1, die cutting plate 2, clear plate 3, and I have another one to go on top. And this is our sandwich. So I've got You're in My Thoughts with this nice tasteful die circle here. All right. So here's this one. That's all set. Beautiful, right? All right, we're going to bring this back through, and I'm going to bring in more rich raspberry. So as I was saying, my fake flowers, these are not the ranunculus dies, but that is definitely on my list of things to get. I just ordered that for a customer, Lori. And Lori, if those had come in today before I brought them to work on Friday, I totally would have used them. Just want you to know that. But they did not come in. They have not come in yet. Probably tomorrow. So I'm going to use my Meadow dies instead. But after I took a look at that stamp and die set for the ranunculus, I definitely need to get it. It's just gorgeous. I feel like when we look through the catalog, there's so many things, I don't always see everything right away. And then someone orders something or I see something and I'm like, oh, I have to have it. You guys might be the same. I don't know. Let's see if I can get this to come off. These stems are really, they stick in and they're very thin. So sometimes I'll use the scrap of paper that I die cut from to just kind of get underneath and start helping me to pull that up. And then this one just has a couple little places here that need a little help to get out. So again, these are not the flowers that the card was designed with, but they came pretty close, so I was okay with using them instead. Sometimes you just gotta be, right? All right, now these little flowers actually were stamped on, and in the catalog, if you look at it really closely, you can kind of see a little bit of stamping. And I figured that this one right here that we already have inked up is gonna be just right. We're just gonna go up around here. Obviously you're gonna have paper behind here because we are definitely getting ink everywhere. But if I lift these up a little bit, I don't know if you can see the difference. You can see a little bit of like where the stamp hit the paper and where it didn't. It kind of just leaves dark spots and uninked spots. So it really does look nice once it's on here. It definitely, you can see it maybe a little bit better this way. You can see that there was some things going on there. And I have a sponge dauber, and what I did earlier was I just kind of filled in a little bit here. And I just wanted to bring in a little bit of this color too. Now this obviously, you know, the catalog, I just take liberties sometimes with what I'm doing here. So I filled that in a little bit as well. And again, such a difference between before I re-inked and refilled and then after. I really like the after much better. It's definitely brighter. All right, we're on to final assembly now. Not too bad, right? Now, let me move those over. This one is going to just go down with some adhesive glue for me. You can use tape runner if you prefer. So I'm just going to put some here in the middle. I'm not going too close to the outside edges because I'm not sure on this paper where it's actually going to hit, but I know it's going to hit in the middle. So I'm just going to put this on here. I'm going to put it up just a little bit higher than my embossed piece, and it's going to come down just like that. I keep moving the original out of the way, so you got to bring that back in, Julie. All right, now for my flowers, I'm just going to put them on here, decide where I want them to be, and then I'm going to bring in some tear and tape, my most favorite, and I'm going to just put a small piece down here and catch them right where I know it's going to be covered up with my sentiment. So when I have my sentiment on here, I know that these are okay, they're covered up, but I can go back through if I don't like the way that they're flopping around here a little bit and just very carefully kind of turn it over and put a little bit of glue underneath some of the flowers that are bigger, like the little bigger pieces here. And I can do the same thing with this one too. That way you don't have to glue everything, you just have to glue a little bit. It just makes it a lot easier. All right, and now they're a little bit more secured. Now I'm going to actually remove this tape because I'm going to use some of this for my ribbon. I can get this off of here. There we go. And ribbon is, here it is. I got so much stuff everywhere sometimes. This is the Fresh Freesia in color ribbon, so you can see it's a nice open weave. And I don't need much for this one. So if you're afraid to use ribbon, this is one where you're not going to need a ton, which is really nice. I'm going to cut it this way, but I'm not sure if that's exactly where I'm going to need it. So I'm cutting about 4 inches, and I think I want them both to go this way. I'm just kind of folding it over. So I want my cut edges to be similar, and it's going to go on right here. It's just going to poke over here a little bit. Not going to really see it on this end. Now you can see that right now it's already flopped back over because it needs a little bit more tape to keep it secured. So I'm just going to grab another little piece of tear and tape and put this on here. Get that one off, and then I'm going to flip this over. And I'm trying to keep them offset just a little bit so you can see that scrap there. You can see this one here on the bottom, this one on the top. So they're not right over top of each other. If they were right over top of each other, it would just look like one ribbon. But this way you can kind of see a little bit of both of them. And we're going to add in this sentiment with more dimensionals. One of these days, I'm going to try to figure out how I can do my videos so that you can see me and you can see my workspace at the same time, because you'd probably be surprised at the way I'm looking around at just a small space in my craft room for things that I just can't locate that I had 2 minutes ago. And I'm sure you guys all relate to that at home too, right? You just put something down and then you can't find it. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to make sure that I'm covering up my adhesive. And we've got the little ribbon sticking out here just a little bit, right? And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add on some bling. We had a whole day of talking about embellishments in my winter boot camp. And if you've missed any of that winter boot camp, you can jump over to Positive Paper Crafters and check it out, because we did a lot of fun things. Now, this was interesting. The polished dots are what they used on this card. So you can kind of see they're like petal pink and kind of like a clear, and they're very smooth circles. You get them in 2 sizes, and they're very similar to the elegant faceted gems. And these are the elegant faceted gems that are in the annual catalog. They have more of the facet in them, like the diamond cut type. You know, you can kind of see the little cuts in them, but they're the same colors, right? And I colored these during the boot camp with a Stampin' Blend. So I have 2 green ones on there, and that's why they're there. I was just showing how to color these. But I thought it was very interesting. I didn't know if I had polished dots, and I was going to use these, but I found polished dots. So if if you have something you can swap back and forth, definitely go for it. These are the iridescent rhinestones, and I was thinking about using these too, right? They're very similar. These ones come in, I think there's 3 different sizes here. But, you know, bling is bling, right? We're going to use the more white colored ones here. And I know for a fact that I'm just following what they did in the catalog. They put 1 there and they put 1 here. So they put 2 on this side. And up here, they had like 1 here, and then they put 1 off of here. So they kind of did 2 here and 2 here, and they offset each other. So this is kind of filling in this upper corner here, and we've got something down here where there's like a little bit less. We talked about embellishment placement, so I'm really studying at everything that I see that I'm like, oh, embellishment placement. This didn't follow the rule of 3 of the triangle, but it definitely makes sense because we're filling in kind of the top corner and the bottom corner, and they kind of line up. But there is our card tonight. You can see my first original card, and we can see the second card. And what do you guys think? Do you like the darker ink one? Do you like the lighter ink one? Let me know what you're thinking in your comments as you're watching along. I appreciate you guys checking it all out. So there we go. Hi, Jess. I see Jess and Rhonda. Hello, hello. Jess, I hope you and your daughter are feeling better. I just wanted to say that. So thank you so much for checking this out. Now, of course, this is Rich Razzleberry and Petal Pink, kind of, you know, Fresh Freesia. It's the purpley pinks. And, you know, I'm going to have to try another color. I'm going to do this. We're going to check it out on Wednesday. I love when we play with color, and I love hearing what colors you like when I just get on there and try something. And I think I'm going to go really outside the box. Last week I did a green, I switched from a petal pink to a green card, so it was really totally different. And again, I think I'm going to do something way outside the box that you might not expect, because you might be thinking, she's going to do blue, she's going to do pink, but I'm thinking it's going to be really unusual. So make sure you check us out on Wednesday, Positive Paper Crafters. I like to do a little feature called Who Wore It Better? So let me know what you think in the comments. If you like our card today, this was a really fun one. And again, if you're making these at home and you don't have the stamp set and you don't have this embossing folder and you don't have these dies, but you have a stamp set with a flower or a leaf and you have dies that look similar, and you know, you have any embossing folder, you can just recreate this. As you're looking for ideas on how to layer things or how to put things on a card, take what you see, use what you have, and get creative. I love that we can all do that. So thank you so much for watching. That is it for me for tonight. Please let me know what you think. Again, in the comments, I appreciate it. And until next time, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and share the love. Bye.